Right, good morning. Welcome to the Trade Mentors podcast. This is myself, James Alford, Mr. Theo Cook, and we've got the lovely Paul Jackson from Carter and Haynes with us today. There's going to be a bit of a theme to this podcast, and it's going to be focusing around men's mental health and a set of us gentlemen together and all of you in sort of like the big wide world. So hopefully we can sprinkle a little bit of dust on it, and if anyone's not feeling their best, maybe they can come out at the end of the episode feeling their best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to young Paul. You're going to give us a little introduction on yourself, your business, a little bit of your history, whatever you want to tell us, and then we'll see if we can poke a little bit more out of you throughout the episode, if that's all right. He's disappeared.
Gone together.
He's muted himself.
There you go.
Are we back?
We're back.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm Paul Jackson. I'm owner of Carter and Haynes. We've been trading for 10 years now. I got into the motor trade in 2014. We started off doing trade to trade only. I had quite a prosperous few years doing that, which built up my pot to be able to buy, to get into retail, which I'm still kind of like wondering whether I should have stayed doing what I was doing, but it's an ongoing battle, that one, with my brain. I got into the trade in a really strange way. I was in advertising prior to what I do now, and it was what they would call the arse end of advertising, where it was kind of like a boiler room kind of scenario where there was lots of people sitting around a table with headsets on, ringing businesses to place advertising space. And in 2014, I took on an office in Liverpool, and some of the reps that were working for me, I didn't realize that they came from a not so honest background as to how they did their business. So, cut a long story short, I'm sitting there, I think it was October of 2014, and my centre manager got a phone call, and he said, "Hi, Paul, yeah, there's a guy on the phone for me." And I was like, in a good mood, I thought, yeah, I'll take the call. So I took the call, and it was Matt Allwright from Watchdog. And he said to me, and this is the God's honest truth, and I swear to God, it's just emblazoned in my mind now. He said, "Paul," he said, "why don't you get a proper job?" And literally said, "We're coming for you," and hung up. That was it. So of course, played on my mind. And then one morning, bearing in mind I had 70 staff, I walked into the room and fired everyone. Shut the company and got into the motor trade.
Wow. Like, pew, dead.
Yeah.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. So what I did was I walked into the admin and I told the centre manager that he needed to tell the other sales reps. Well, actually, we did in the Liverpool office. We literally went there at 12 o'clock midnight, changed the locks so they couldn't get in the morning.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then so you stopped that. You literally just disappeared, I guess.
It kind of like rumbled on a little bit because we had to collect some money in. And we still had outstanding debts, and we still had printing obligations we had to do. But I actually saw an advert in the Daily Mail for a company called, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, called Carlton Premier Cars. They were based in Leicester, and they were offering a franchise of trade to trade, basically, with their setup and everything else, so that, I could buy cars, sell them to main dealers, etc. So I answered that advert, and eventually, when I met the guy, I ended up the director of that company, but we had very, very different views. And as I say, 2015, I started Cars for Haynes on my own. First car I traded was a BMW M5. I made 500 quid on, and the rest of it. In 2019, which was my best year ever, I did 230k trade profit just myself.
I think that was when for those who are listening, I've probably dealt with Paul for like 5 years, probably since 2019, that bumper year, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And I've probably had, I don't know how many cars I've had. Well, I used to have quite a bit, and obviously now you've gone into more retail, not so much anymore.
No,
but you had it was a really good supply, wasn't it? For, I think, was it when Motorway first started, really? And you were like, all over.
So it started with Tootle. So I don't know if you remember Tootle. You used to bid on a car on Tootle, and they would give you the phone number. So you could actually speak to the customer whilst it was in the auction, as it were. So you could get a better picture of the car before you wasted your time and went and saw it or whatever. And I was buying all these cars up Tootle because I was one of their main buyers. They were sending me loads of cars. I was getting shitloads of cars. I was doing upwards of between 20 and 30 cars a month just trading.
Mm.
And half the time I never sold them.
Yeah, well, you used to buy the stuff and it would come direct to me, wouldn't it? And
then I got in with Sytner, and I got in with Mercedes Exeter, who were doing pre-reg at the time. Would you believe in 2019 you could buy a Mercedes GLC 43 for 35 grand, including VAT qualifying, with delivery miles.
What's that? How much is that now?
You'd pay close to 30 for it today.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, so that's what I did. And then obviously we went more retail because staff that we had decided they wanted to do their own thing. Because obviously when you teach people your secrets, they know them, don't they? Yeah. It's kind of like you kind of got no choice in a way when you're doing that kind of business. People know how you operate. They know how you work. They know where your secrets lie. And they just took them off and started their own business. So it was always like quite a high turnover business of staff. So I thought, do you know what? I can already make a trade profit out of these cars. So why don't I add that into a retail profit and retail them? So, but obviously, as you well know, Theo, James doesn't, is that I've had a very much love-hate relationship with retail since 2020.
Yeah, there's been a lot of, and I think we all have it, and we'll definitely get onto it. We all have serious complexities, and I think it's the way we're wired as car dealers, but we're never settled, I don't think, quite. And there's always, well, is this the best way to do things? Is that the best way to do things? Is that going to make me happy? Is that not going to make me happy? And there's a lot of trial and error, and obviously you've probably been back and forward on the retail side of it more than anybody I know, definitely.
It's the fear of it. Do you know what it is for me? It's the fear. Again, just saying, because I'm older now, it's the fear of losing everything. I wasn't scared when I was younger because I just go, oh yeah, just.
Sorry, how old are you now, Paul?
Well, I'm 50 next year.
Okay, that's a good 50. That is a fresh 50. So congrats on that. Strong
Thanks.
Hairline as well.
How old are you, James? I probably know, but how old are you?
41 this year.
Tough paper round, eh?
You look, I mean, to talk about your beard as well. We'll take this opportunity. You look like you've fallen out of the womb with no beard. That is you are fresh as a fucking daisy.
You've got so much excess skin.
Exactly, like a baby. Like he's going to eat a little bot in the corner.
Don't study yourself too hard on these cameras.
I've had a beard for the last couple of years now. I was just doing a line this morning. I thought, just because I'm going on the podcast, have a little, just cut the line. And then my little 3-year-old came smashing through the bathroom, knocked me, and I'm like that. And I was like, shit, I've got to take the whole kit off now. So
have you heard of an electric razor, Theo?
Yeah, it was. But so I apologise to the viewers for this terrible jowliness that I've got going on.
Brilliant. I appreciate it. And it's a great opportunity for us to give a little bit of friendly banter.
Yes.
It's to adjust your mental health in this tough time.
It is.
So, Paul, So Theo mentioned to me in the last couple of days, said that you had like a point where you sort of really fell out of love with the trade and selling cars. And when was that? What was the trigger for it? The main one? Because it's normally something, it's never one thing, it's like a compounding thing, but what was the thing that made it go, do you know what? That's not cool. I'm not into that. I think I want to wrap it in.
Yeah, so obviously there's a host of things, but I think the main thing was, I think it started around June last year. And if you remember, we'd already had the previous, I'm going to talk, I don't deal in CAP, I don't deal in anything like that. I work on retail backwards. But I had a load of stock that got hit hard when the CAP values changed dramatically from about June to October, wasn't it, last year, something like that. And they just kept going down, didn't they? They kept going down, and I had all this stock. I was still doing a bit of trade to trade. I had all this stock.
What type of, just for the listeners, Paul, what type of stock is it that you had? What type of stock was it?
It was between, I'd say, 10 grand and 25 grand, 30 grand sports and performance. Some run-of-the-mill cars as well. I did have some Nissan Dukes, which I wish I'd never got anywhere near. And stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like bread and butter stuff. But mainly, I like to sell nice cars with nice spec, as you know, especially with pan roof. I had to get that in. Pan roof, cool. That's it. But yeah, so the combination of all these book drops and the price changes all the time, combined with the after sales problems, the after sales issues we were getting, just all got on top of me. Just to give you an idea, in our business, there's only myself, my brother, and the tech. Everything else is outsourced and comes on. So the press is quite heavy on the three of us. We try and keep around 20 to 25 cars in stock at any one time, but that doesn't work. But yeah, that was the real low point, is when I felt like I was being personally attacked for selling a vehicle as a custodian of cars for lanes. And I was taking it very, very personally, and I was finding it very difficult to get out of that mindset.
Did you get, I know you said you felt personally attacked, so did you get people locating you privately on like Facebook or Instagram and trying to contact you directly? And
no, we have a WhatsApp, like a lot of people, and we tend to do a lot of our business on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm trying to ask is, because look, this is something I want to talk about later, is customers' inability to know where a line is. So, and the more frustrated they get, the more they'll try and break through that line. So when they don't get what they want in a reasonable time, or what they class as a reasonable timescale, which 9 times out of 10 isn't, they'll keep jumping over fences and jumping over fences and jumping over fences. And obviously, Joe's been a victim of this many times. They'll get to a point where they jump over a fence, and if you haven't got your personal life locked down on the internet, they'll jump into that pond and they will make it personal. They don't know you.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on in your personal life. They clearly don't give a fuck 90% of the time, and they will terrorize you if they got the opportunity. So the lesson from this, I would say, is obviously if you have doing what we do, and if you run a company and stuff, you have to have your own personal stuff locked down. So on a weekend, you can escape from those sort of things, because these buggers, they will try, and they will do their best. And their sole intention is to make you feel like you want to quit.
I just have actually. I checked it on the weekend because after I was on Joe's weekly a couple of weeks ago, Joe came and bought a car off us and whatever, we did a swap. But I had a really weird visitor chat that Saturday night, really weird. And I thought, he was asking some funny questions, and not car related by any stretch. And I went onto my profiles on my socials, and I was like, shit, they're all open. So there's pictures of my boy, there's pictures of my wife, there's, and I was pressed. So I locked it all down because I was like, the internet's the internet is a wild place. So how I mean, we haven't got any exposure at all really here, but how Joe manages it when he's got a lot of people watching him all the time is, you got to be really careful with that sort of thing. So that is a good tip for all business owners, I think, especially in the public domain, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously they can search at some company's house. That's absolutely fine, but that's public knowledge. But they will look for you they'll want to look into your private life. They'll want to look what you're up to. There'll be something. They'll look for some sort of weakness that they can prey on towards you to try and make you feel unpleasant if things aren't going their way. Realistically, we probably followed the book to the T. We've done everything we can for that customer. Sometimes stuff just takes time. Sometimes it's a no and they don't want to know. So they go, do you know what? I'm going to make that guy's a fucking misery and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it until they cave, until they go, do you know what? I'll pay you whatever amount of money you fuck off. Just get out of my private life.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
there are a lot of dealers that end up as a victim of that. And if we can advise 1%, again, Theo, we've done our little job here.
Yeah.
Do you know, quickly on that, also, I think it's about how quickly that you deal with an issue. So adding on to the actual pressure of what we were talking about before is my business WhatsApp is on this computer here. So when I finish, I close it down, I leave, and I come in the next day. And the phone is left in the office as well. So nobody sees anything that happens in this business after a certain time other than my brother. But when there's a problem, because the computer's here, and I can switch from this screen to this screen, I tend to have to feel like I need to deal with it right away. And sometimes
That's not abnormal. That's completely normal.
It adds to your super stress level, doesn't it? Because you think that you've said, because I think I'm quite good with literary, with words and explaining to people how, we're going to help them and we're going to fix them, or it isn't as bad as they think, or can you come in and we'll have a look at it. I think it's the following messages that you then get from them that says that basically you're a twat and you've not done your job properly and it's all your fault. But when you get 4 or 5 of those within a 2 or 3 day period, for me, really affected me mentally.
What was they
carry on, don't they? They don't just stop. They carry on. We don't have a person that deals with the sales. I deal with it.
Yeah, same as us, yeah.
Yeah. So you're constantly getting that barrage of abuse, constantly, from somebody that came in and was nice as pie and was lovely, having a laugh, having a joke, give you a really good review that just turns into like the Incredible Hulk 3 days later. Bizarre.
What was the go on, James?
So again, this is another thing that I like to bang down the door about. People are unreasonable. They are disappointing as humans because they never, ever, ever factor us as a team into it. So regardless who's picking up their complaint or not, they never factor that in. They want to cause the maximum amount of damage possible. And then they expect us to give them the best service possible whilst they're in the middle of that damage. The customers that get the best service from us, not by choice, but it's because it's so much easier to give that better service when they're reasonable than when they're unreasonable. If you do stuff under duress, or if you're like banging on the door of the garage, get this ready, the mechanics make a mistake. The salesman will say the wrong thing. The after sales person's like under pressure. Everything comes out and the quality is diluted because that person is blowtorching that situation with their personal emotions. And they always forget that everybody is going through something.
Absolutely.
And they never ever factor that in. They don't factor in what's going on in everybody's private life. Like, yes, we run a company and we've got to put a brave face on. But fuck me, all of us have got some shit going on in our lives. When you've got to deal with that on top of what you're going on in your personal life,
It's heavy,
where
isn't
do you go with it? And like, sometimes it's like, who do you talk to? Well, we've set up this dealers group so we can talk to each other. When we didn't have that before, unfortunately, we've lost some friends in the process. We've had some dealers, they're in a similar situation to yourself. They've had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things come at them all at once, and they've gone, do you know what? I can't do this. I'm better off not being here. And that is awful, and it's hideous. And those people, for me personally, I thought they were some of the strongest people. I thought, do you know what? They're like a human cockroach. They're never going to get affected by this. But those are the ones that took their own life. And it's not uncommon in the motor trade. So it brings me on to sort of like a segue as to part of what they do here in the motor trade. So I don't know if you guys are aware, there is a charity which is very, very big in the motor trade called Ben. Has anyone heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to bring it up on the screen now. So basically this is designed for us lot here in the motor trade. I know that Mr. Jamie Cable is a massive advocate of it, and he donates great deals of money there. I think I might even be able to drag in a photo of him, which he sent me this morning, if I can find it. Come on, where has he got to? This is how good I am at this stuff.
Well, you're getting better.
Is it one from his Facebook the other day?
Yeah, he's got a big old cheque for £12,000. So, and he looks delighted, which he should be. That's a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there for us. But at the same time, we are there for you lot. I think sometimes when it's really, really hard, sometimes the hardest thing is putting your hand up and going, do you know what? I'm having a really hard time of it. Like, the maths is hurting me. The sales is hurting me. This is hurting me. And a lot of people don't realise that when we're doing really well here, it's taken a shitload of work to do really well. But in the motor trade, you can unfold 100 times faster than you can build up.
Definitely.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
So what would take you 12 months to achieve something small, you can unwind that in 4 weeks. We could have a bad 4 weeks and we could get wiped out. You could have a week where you only take £100 deposits on 8 cars, so your cash flow cut down dead down the line. A couple of warranty jobs come in that are £4,000 each. Immediately you're 50, 60, 70,000 upside down. Who keeps that money sat there? 90% of us don't. And you can't, because you've got to run a business with cash flow. And then you're sat there on a Friday evening thinking, what am I going to do on Monday morning? What's the point of me going in Monday morning? I can't fix it. I'm just waiting. And that's the times when it is the toughest. And sometimes you've got to ring up your mate and go, I'm really not enjoying this. And they'll go, just wait it out. Just bide your time. Just carry on doing what you're doing. Focus on other stuff. It'll come right. And it does. And it will. But we are here for you if we need it.
I think that was, it comes with experience, doesn't it? Having the highs and the lows in this trade, the highs are really high because, as we all know, it's like a drug selling cars, and buying cars for me, it's like, if I'm not buying cars,
Both.
we've had a quiet week or quiet 10 days, but we had a stonk in February, the rest of it. And I bought a load of cars and paid for them last week, and end of the month costs and everything like that. So I'm like, this week I'm not allowed to buy a car, and it's hard. I'm sort of twiddling my thumbs, and I'm just, I'm just want to buy some cars, and it's like a drug. And when we're selling them, it's like a drug. And then, so when you do have your quiet times, it is a real low. And I think over the years, the more you do it, you get used to those, and it's easier to deal with. But if you're sort of, especially for the guys watching this Mentors podcast, especially that are new to it and joining it, the trade, you will have lots of highs and lows, but they will, if you stick at it and you're doing it right, it will come good. So don't panic.
There's a lot of guys as well. They mentioned to me that one-man bands and they're on their own, and you spend a lot of time on your own, and that's the most dangerous time. Like, when you've not really seen anyone that isn't a customer for 3, 4, 5 days, or you go a whole week without seeing another person, it's just you, computer and inquiries. Like, it is very, very easy to fall into that trap of your own emotions, your own thoughts, and just want to wrap it in and go, do you know what? Like, I didn't sign up for this.
It's like you said, Paul, isn't it? When it's your own, obviously we're all business owners, but when it's your own and it's a really small team and you take it really personally if things do go quiet and you think, shit, what am I doing wrong? Could I be doing something else? On the flip side, obviously, you've this year you seem to have really come out the other side, which is great to see. But what was the catalyst for it?
Focusing on those things in a positive way and looking at the way I could, without getting really freaky about it, train my mind to try and compartmentalize everything as best I could. And do you know what? I know this sounds bizarre, but about 6 months ago, so I think a lot of us suffer from anxiety and stress and depression in this job. I don't care how successful you are, you will suffer from it unless you just have no conscience. But I started taking a supplement called lion's mane mushroom from Holland and Barrett. And whether it's a placebo or not, I don't know. But it's definitely brought my anxiety levels down. But that started me being able to focus on things differently and look at things in a different way to try and get me out of the quagmire that I felt that my mind was in.
Yeah.
And I've been religiously taking that now for about 6 months. And I've got to be honest with you, I would normally be really anxious about doing this and speaking to you, to you guys, knowing that it was being filmed and everything else. I'm just not bothered. And
congratulations.
Honestly.
No, genuinely, like, congratulations. Like, that must be sort of really relieving for you to go from, because obviously Theo mentioned you were here. You're now, not only are you here, but you're okay with it.
Yeah.
And that's enormous. And I think
it's because you spoke, obviously you posted on, we spoke a bit at the end of last year, didn't we, when you were struggling, and obviously a lot of people sort of rallied round, and I know you got a lot of support from other traders and stuff at the time. When you came out,
it was incredible, that post, how many people came out and said, actually, Paul, I'm really glad you said this because we feel exactly the same way. It was bonkers.
But I thought it was so ballsy of you to just do it in the first place, because I know 95% of us wouldn't, and that is where the problem is.
Can you tell us what happened for the old Tinterwebs, Theo? Just exactly what happened.
So Paul did a Facebook post last year, towards the end of last year, saying, he was finding it tough and things were getting on top of him and that sort of thing. And it was a really well-written post. And then obviously, because Paul's dealt with so many people over the last 5 years trading-wise, there was a lot of traders that he's friends with on there. And the comments were fantastic. And I know a lot of people I messaged you privately, and I know a lot of other people did as well. And then you did another post sort of early part, a couple of weeks ago, whatever, saying that this is what you've done to address it. And it was just brilliant to see, really. And I think it was a really big thing of you to say it in the first place. A lot of us don't. And I think that is where the problem is. And hopefully this podcast and Ben are there if you need to speak to it. Like James says, we're all here. This is what this whole thing was set up to do. And hopefully it will be, it's not that there's a stigma with it now, I don't think. I think it's still, the vast majority of us are blokes and we're in the motor trade and nothing can beat us and blah, blah, blah. But it's stressful. So to speak about it,
this isn't the same motor trade as it was 6 years ago. I don't care what.
It's not. It's so much harder, and I noticed it in the strangest of ways. And I have a little confession to make. Where, in fact, I texted Theo about it. I was like, "Are you watching the football?" And he was like, "No, I'm at home watching watching Wild Robot with my son." And I was like, "Do you know what? I watched that film a little while ago. I had a little cry, but I don't think it was because it is a good film and it is quite sad, but like sometimes when you're so high on emotions, sometimes, and you've had such a rough week, sometimes when there's a little tiny weeny something can just send you over the edge. And I was just like, I sat there afterwards, I was like, I'm a fucking absolute baby for crying about this. But then I immediately felt better. Like sometimes it just takes something like that to make you realise, like, I am a human, like, because you got to put on a brave face so much of the time. Sometimes it's okay not to be okay. So, again, like, well done, Paul. That is impressive what you've done. And saying afterwards, this is what I've done about it, even more oppressive to let those people know that helped, that you've done something about it.
Because there'll be a lot of people feeling, especially at the moment, because the trade is so up and down. There's so many changes with everything. Auto Trader are killing us. There's a lot of killing me. Again, not just me, and Paul, and lots of other people. Not you, Mr. Smug.
This is my happy face. This is my happy I'm not Auto Trader face.
Yeah, I know. There'll be a lot of people watching this.
I'm actually working on that with 67 degrees, to be honest. So
me too, and so's James.
Oh, can we talk about your website, please?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, screen share. Modern technology. Come for me. Right. I love it. This is a great website. So, I like this bit at the beginning.
I expect a very good hamper from Luke at 67 for Christmas this year.
Hamper or hand job?
Well, either or.
Yeah, well, I'll take either. It's fine. Yeah, mate, I'll be honest with you. Most of these actually look very similar. But when you bring these 67-degree websites up on a tablet, they are beautiful. But again, it's just got everything you need. It's very simple. You can go through it. You got some lovely cars. You photoed them all really well. You've got the WhatsApp login. So as far as any information or tips that I've got for you, I have absolutely nothing. And I'm exceptionally delighted to be in this position where I've got no advice for you. And I think that you've got the best system. So
what
I'm
can
going
I
to move
do?
on to... Huh?
What can I do better?
This is where we're going to go now. I probably haven't really got a lot to give you, but I can give as much as I can for you. What is your social media page? Is it what we've got? Carter and Haynes.
Yeah, so we've got a Facebook page, which I do very, very little on, to be honest with you. Again, because it's just me, Steve, and the mechanic. I've only got so many hours in the day when I'm buying all the cars as well, and blah blah blah. But
once you get the hang of it, it sort of really it really does sort of yank itself up. I can't see Carter and Haynes. I'm just trying to find it now.
It is there. But again, it's not that I don't use it.
When me and Paul were speaking the other day, Paul's planning on going down the sort of specialist route a little bit more, which is, I mean, obviously you used to trade a lot of BMWs and Minis, wasn't it, back in the...
Yeah, I mean, back in 2019, again, this symbolic year of phallicness that comes out when I think about the motor trade. We were a Porsche specialist, and when COVID hit, and we came out of COVID, I made a shit ton of money. And like everybody wanted a Porsche.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, nobody did. And that's how it went.
If you do go down this mini BMW route, obviously they're very much, I think you'd need to try and get on your Instagram and your TikTok.
Yeah.
The reason being they are very much Instagrammable cars. The reason I haven't pushed Instagram massively or TikTok is because nobody wants to look at a Honda Jazz or a Peugeot 108. They're not asked.
I disagree.
Do you think?
I strongly disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because some of the cars that you get in there are... Some of those low mileage vehicles that you get are exceptionally well maintained with exceptional history, low mileage, and you do get some good ones with some odd colours that would genuinely gain you traction. And it's sometimes Facebook and Instagram is just a case of dripping tap fills the bucket. So if you constantly bang the drum that you exist, or you've got a wide variety of cars, but know that those cars will be well spec'd with low mileage and well prepped, people will automatically go to you. And that is the purpose of Facebook and Instagram. It's not just for selling cars. It's just reminding people regularly that you are there and you're there to do business.
Yeah, we do. We post on Facebook every day. I think it's the other two platforms which I haven't really pushed massively.
Just don't be afraid. Like you said, it is a dripping tap fills the bucket scenario. Yeah. Obviously, for Paul, I think I pulled it up on the screen a minute ago. Your site looks beautiful. Obviously, your car photos are beautiful as well. I'm not 100% convinced on the whole specialist thing anymore, because I think as the current state that the market's in, I think you would put yourself in a pigeonhole that could be a bad one. We don't know that yet. But
could I give you my thought process behind it quickly?
I'd love to hear it.
So I was thinking that obviously with Google generally, and we get these stats from 67 Degrees. I got my 67 Degrees stats the other day, and 50% of my website traffic is actually organic, if you are to believe what it says.
It'll be correct.
Which I'm really surprised about, to be honest.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, so when I was a Porsche specialist, if you put into Google Porsche for sale near me, I was above the main dealer, because I've got a better Google profile. I've got 600 Google reviews, I think. And I've got a better profile, so I was hitting higher up the list. And I think a lot of people, if you to take that 50% organic, will be searching, for instance, BMW 3 Series for sale near me, just as an example. If I've got 12 BMW 3 Series, 5 BMW 4 Series, and a load of minis, then my thought process behind it all is, with the integration of Google Ads, vehicle ads, and with the integration of and people searching individually online for a specific model in your area within 50 miles, I thought that it would actually be quite a positive thing to do, because I would be the business they would come to for a BMW that sat outside of a main dealer stock profile car.
Yeah.
It's brave. It's definitely brave.
I think
if you're going to do it, you've got to do it right, and you've got to get it right initially. But I think you're going to have to find it out on your own way, because the problem you've got is, I assume that you're selling at the moment because the site looks busy, looks like you've got traffic on and off there all the time, and everything looks tickety-boo. The danger you've got is you could send yourself back 5 years. That's the only thing that I would worry about.
So we chuck kits on everything. We put body kits on everything. I've just taken a unit a mile up the road, and we're putting a ramp in there for our own workshop. And my mechanic, my tech guy, is actually a BMW tech.
Oh, that's handy. That's a massive difference. Yeah. And is there a way that you can stamp him so you can keep him for life, or just pay him too much money?
Pay him lots of money.
So he lives 700 yards away from the showroom.
Ah, you're going to chain him then? Get him a little chain that runs to the workshop and back.
Yes. I just literally keep him on a leash outside. He's like the dealing dog, but he's the dealing mechanic.
Nice.
Yeah. But he's been with me a while, and we get on. And, I watched your podcast last week about how you end up with personal relationships with these staff members that you can't really get out of. Not that you'd want to, but, we do a lot of things together. We've been to the Trade to Trade Awards. We support the Jade Bulger Memorial Trust, and it's their annual black tie do in a couple of weeks, which is on our table. I like to keep him involved, and we get on really well. So you can only do your best with that, can't you? And obviously my brother, he's just a prick, so it's all right.
And he will watch this, I assume. So
yes, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'm glad that you got that out on the internet. Got it off your chest. Look at that. Mental well-being. Came on the internet, called my brother a prick. Yes.
Yeah. I tell you what, he's a bloody good closer, though, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, Theo's dad is actually the better salesman than Theo, and he'll openly put his hand up to that. So,
a million times better. I think once you get grey hairs, you become a bit more of a trustworthy old fox.
Distinguished. You become distinguished.
I haven't got the patience. He sits there and just laughs with them. I'm waiting for him to grab a bottle of JD and start, giving JD on ice to everyone as they're trying to buy a car. Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Okay. So, Paul, is there anything that you'd like us to discuss or go over? Any bits and pieces that you want information from us about?
Yeah.
Obviously, we've discussed the BMW side of things. Like, well, we haven't got mixed reviews on it. Obviously, it's going to be a risk, but it sounds like you've got it under control and it could work. And I'd like to see it work, and I'd like to catch up with you in 6 months' time to see if it works. So that's obviously...
I think it would, because Paul hasn't got a massive site, so it's not like you're trying to fight.
He does now. He's got a lockup just about to go up the road. So I smell another 10 cars.
Yeah, you can definitely get
in here there.
100%. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to be able to stock it with nice stuff, aren't you? So 25 cars, you're going to be able to have 25 very nice examples.
2 at the body shop.
And I won't sell anything that doesn't have any spec. That is a problem with buying, is that I refuse to buy cars with no spec. If you look at my cars, they've all got big specs. I mean, I've got 2 minis to go up. I've got 2 minis, a 318D Shadow Edition Estate, which is rare as rocking horse shit. And I've got a 19 plate 320i convertible. But both minis have got pan roofs. You know, I try and find the highest spec stock that I can, because
I think that lends itself to a bit of specialism, doesn't it? Because you're going to have the higher spec ones that are available that the main dealers won't necessarily have. So I think you'd be able to stock it okay. You've got a mechanic who can obviously knows them inside out. So I think it lends itself to it a bit. But like James says, once you have pigeonholed yourself a little bit. But you were a Porsche specialist before, weren't you? So you can change.
I mean, James is right. You know, you talk yourself into these things, don't you? You know, I'm just sitting here, just talking myself into my BMW Mini specialist. I get that. I could give you all the reasons in the world as to why I want to do what I'm doing, and somebody will be the guy on my shoulder saying, "Yeah, Paul, you know, like you say."
Yeah, but if it's what you want to do and it's in your gut feeling, the issue that you've got and we've all got is we've got to love it. We've got to love doing what we're doing. Okay, and if you're at a point where you're falling in and out of love with something, you've got to follow where the love goes. So if you go, do you know what? I fucking love BMWs. I love all the knowledge that I got about the specifications, and I love how I feel about the customers that come and look at them, and I love being the smartest person in the room with those BMWs. Fucking get it done. Like, we had those guys on the other day with their ex-Kia guys, and we said to them, just said, look, sell some fucking Kias, mate. You know everything about it. It'll be like putting a comfortable pair of slippers on. It's what you know. And if it's what you love, just get it done. You know, like you said, some of the BMWs out there, I'm not a massive BMW fan, but there are some BMWs out there that genuinely look like good, lovely sports cars, like the 4 Series. It does look nice. It looks like it's designed to be driven in the south of France. I completely take that. And like, when you are selling it to someone and you point all the stuff out, you're like, no, actually, even someone that doesn't really like the car, I'm sitting there going, actually, it is quite nice, and it's got some quite nice spec in there.
Yeah.
You know, so I think if it's what your gut's telling you, then I think you should do it. And it might restore the love that you haven't had in God knows how long. You might walk in the morning, like, you know, as you open the doors first thing, like we said the other day, we're like, you sort of look over your empire and it's full of all the stuff that you want to sell, and it's, you know, beat your chest and today is my fucking day. And you have a good day.
Yeah, I'm a definite person that wants to sell what I want to sell as nice cars, rather than what would sell to make the most money and turn over the most stock. And I know that can be counterintuitive sometimes, but like you've intimated and what we said before is, I can't sell Nissan Dukes. I just can't do it. I don't have no interest in them. I don't care about them.
Just send them to me.
Or fucking
send them to me. I love a Nissan Duke. I love it.
What, right? We sold one in December, and Sam's got 3 days on it, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because the fucking engine blew up last week.
1 in 20, whatever.
But BMW, you know, touch wood, okay, minis are slightly different, but BMW, you're talking about sensors and you're talking about turbos, worst case. I mean, the poor bastard doesn't need 3 days on a fucking Nissan Duke, does he?
That's you begrudging the Nissan Duke. That's it.
Yes.
We'll move on from that. Quick question for you. Obviously, all of your cars on the website that are online at the moment, which one would you take home tonight if you had a choice?
The 435D. Actually, to be
That was
fair,
quick. There was no hesitation there.
yeah, it would be it'd be that or the Passat.
Oh, yeah.
I need to read photos, James, before you say anything.
Pardon?
I need to redo the photos on the Passat before you say anything
Why?
because it's a bit elongated.
It's all right to me. I'd have no complaints on that. My complaints the other day was that person where all the photos were, it looked like he'd done a couple of drinks before he did it, or when they're crossed each way like this. This is where, that looks absolutely fine. So you relax yourself about that one. I'd pop that one on the database. That is not a problem at all. That Passat is lovely.
Yeah, it seems, yeah.
That is very, very nice. I get that and I understand that. So will you be doing BMW Mini with a little bit of Volkswagen?
Do you know what? I did think about selling some Golf R's as well.
Because they are pretty, and that Passat is pretty. And maybe even if it's German car specialists, something along those sort of lines.
Yeah.
Because then you're not pigeonholing yourself too much then. Like that Mercedes C-Class is very, very nice. I struggle with the entertainment system and because I'm over 6 foot tall, I can't, my feet don't work in them because they've got a really shallow footwell, haven't they? So your feet have to sit, they're elongated out. You do more than a mile in a Mercedes and I'm out, my back hurts.
Yeah. I'm surprised that car's not sold, to be honest. I've had that about 40 days now.
I just don't, it's a C43.
It's on non-gen wheels, but I think they're staggered, and it's got a maxed on kit on it which came with it, so I thought it looked quite nice, which is why I bought it.
Would you consider some feedback from somebody that is not a professional and not an expert in this realm of cars?
Yeah.
It looks like it needs red calipers, mate.
You think?
Like if I was just about to spend, how much we got here?
Can you share this, James? Can you share the car?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll share this for you. So if I was about to spend £23,500 on a Mercedes that realistically most of the population can't afford, okay, so you've got a lovely finance example there, £450 a month, which I would say there's a lot of the population that probably could afford £450 a month. That is a beautiful, fast estate car, and I'll be honest with you, I think it does need red calipers. I think that would...
You want a little bit of colour to it, do you, James?
Well, no, it just lets you know that it's a bit posh and a bit dirty.
Yeah, fair comment, yeah.
It's all... I'll tell you what a set of red calipers does. It lets you have a little peek up their knickers. It's as if to say, do you know what? There's a fucking massive engine underneath here.
Tagline for today's video, that is.
Yeah, there's a massive engine underneath here, and these are the big fuck-off brakes that make it stop. That's what that would say.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sure all the purists will be like, no, can't do it. Fuck off. It's been there for 40 days. Try something new.
Yeah. Other than reducing the fucker, yeah.
Don't reduce the price.
Yeah.
I would paint the calipers red and put the price up 1,000.
Okay. All right, then.
And if it sells, you can send me a bottle of aggressive alcohol.
JD.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Aggressive alcohol. I'm down for all of it.
Will do.
Have you got anything else, Paul?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say the thing I'm going to speak to, going back to what earlier, I'm going to speak to 67 later. I've got a call with Susie Ansell there about what you were talking about, James, last week, about the wraparound from the Facebook adverts that go, to the website so that they go in like a certain type circle. I think, again, going back to me doing the specialist thing, I think that will be really fundamentally one of the things I need to do to make everything work, is to have that. And also, Theo, just say it, is coming away from Auto Trader a little bit and maybe putting some money into 7.
I think we're all starting to get on that train. Yeah, I think there's some big things afoot.
Would you like me to very briefly show you how to link in your when we do your adverts and stuff? I'll do this very quickly because this is something that I'll keep the best bits to myself, and I'll share the really dirty bits with you behind the scenes that make it wonderful. Okay, so here is one of our little adverts. Okay, so I'm going to click on the full spec. So the bit that meta tags it to your website. Okay, so I've done the advert here. This is the bit. So I've got my website address there, and you've got the link to the full advert there. So what that does now is that does that massive, lovely round robin setup. So it links into your stats onto your 67 degrees. Because realistically, the purpose of this advert is to obviously yank it in on people on Facebook. Okay, but also you want them to go to your website, because if they do want to do a finance application, they can do a finance application, but it will need to be done on your website, and they can self-quote themselves. And, you know, if they want to put £1,000 down and reduce the payments, yada, yada, yada. So, you know, imagine you've done that lovely Mercedes, you've painted the wheels red, you've put it on Facebook, 23,995. They can sort themselves out the finance. You'll wake up the next day to a finance application and the car's sold.
Right. Okay.
That's what you want to be doing.
Do you boost those posts on Facebook?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So on, I'll see if I've got.
How much would you spend on what?
It depends on the car spec. So if it's a basic vehicle, what I would class as a bread and butter vehicle, I'd probably spend between 50 to 100. Okay. If it's something really nice, so that Focus ST line that I just showed you there, I'd probably spend 150, just because it is a nice example of a Ford Focus. We're talking about nice Ford Focuses, you might get a little bit of sick in your mouth, but it's fine. In our part of the world, that's a luxury car.
Do you pay that out? Do you pay that out straight away, James, or is it over like a period of
when it hits £1,000, I get a bill from Meta, and we've invoiced me for £1,000, and it comes out through direct debit.
Do you do that yourself, or is that through 67?
No, I do this all through myself. Right. So the Facebook I completely do separately. I run my Meta page completely separate from 67 degrees.
Right.
Okay. Because there's a lot more to it behind the scenes, and it's a lot more to it than what they could physically control. And they would need to employ someone full time on behalf of me to get that, if that makes any sense. So I would probably say this is part of my full time job, just managing the Facebook side of it.
Yeah.
But it does pay dividends, because we get a lot of inspirational purchases. So
that, oh, go on, sorry.
So the people that weren't necessarily looking for your car will be found on Facebook. Yeah. So the customer that you weren't normally going to get, that isn't out there searching, that didn't know that they needed a Mercedes with red calipers, become the customer that needs the Mercedes with the red caliper from Facebook, because they're like, I've got a spare £500 a month. I need a new car. This has just popped on my Facebook. It must be fate. It isn't, but it puts you in a position where it could be. This is where preparation meets opportunity.
You do all that through your Meta business page?
Yes, I do.
So, quick one. If you put £100 on that car and you sell it, because clearly that would be X amount of a day, I guess, or whatever. So
I put it on for 14 days.
14 days.
And I put it in an 80-mile radius.
Right. So then you sell it on day 8. You just stop that campaign, so you may have only cost you 80 quid to sell the car.
No, I just let it run.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
It's because I don't like to interfere with it. I also can't be bothered, and sometimes the deal doesn't always go through, so you've still got that continuity.
That money.
So just let it run its course.
You've said before, though, haven't you, that you put them on for 14 days, but there was a day that was the sweet spot. Was it day 9 or something? Or it was
11, I think it was, something like that, 9 or 11. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong. I can only tell you what I know so far. So,
but if that's 150 quid a car, if I sell a car on Auto Trader, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but if I sell a car on Auto Trader and it sells in 24 hours or 48 hours, and then another one goes on, then that hasn't, that's not cost me very much at all. or it probably has cost me, I don't know, 80 quid or 100 quid. So I guess it's as broad as it is long. But in that 14-day period, I might have 3 cars through that slot, if that makes sense.
So the way Facebook works is it's getting you everywhere all the time. So my long-term impressions is what I'm interested in. It's not just the car. So if I'm constantly banging new stock on Facebook, it's going out everywhere. So yes, there's going to be points where I'm banging cars in front of people that they don't want a Vauxhall Corsa, they don't want a Ford Focus. But if they go to my website from it, I could have something I want there. So that's not just the sole goal. It's my getting people to my website, getting people potentially interested in finance, getting people potentially interested in part exchanges. It's a hoarder. So I'm a monthly fee, which I'm happy to spend each month, which I normally spend less than, and I get exactly what I want from it. So it's more of a dripping tap fills the bucket scenario for the Facebook side of it. So that's why sometimes I'll just let the advert run, and like sometimes it just does say sold cars. But we got a lot of people just go on our website and they'll just flick through like, what sort of stuff have these guys sold, had an on and off? Like, what would I get? You know, if I had 4 or 5 grand, could I get a small automatic? Could I buy do they sell £3,500 cars? They just got to scroll through and they can see it.
Yeah.
Do you know exactly where all your sales are coming from then, would you say?
Yeah, all the guys ask when we sell the car. We've got I actually haven't got one on my desk. Actually, I've normally got a file here, and it shows us like where it's sold, and I'd probably say about 50% is Facebook.
See, that's the thing is, I think with Auto Trader, Theo might disagree or agree, is you don't actually always know how you sold that car, because somebody will say they've seen it on Auto Trader when they haven't, because they've been.
I said this to my rep yesterday. It's the default setting for all customers, isn't it? Where did you see the car, Auto Trader?
I think what I'm just saying is that when you do a car on Facebook, which is why I'm quite interested in doing this, when you put a car on Facebook and you boost it, the customers are going to that specific car specifically. Whether they go to your website and end up looking at other cars, they clicked on the link for car, rather than them ringing you up and they don't, a couple of days later, they what car was it again? I've looked at loads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
get it. Again, it's more targeted, isn't it? Much more targeted.
It's a lot easier for us to keep an eye on what they're up to. So like I get a lot more data from it. So not with 67, not only do I get data that they've gone to go and look at a specific car, I get data on how long they spend on my website. Some people spend 6, 7, 8 minutes just looking on the warranty page just to see what sort of warranty we offer. I've got all of that information from their website. So nowadays everything's traceable. Like Car Gurus, again, they've got a system now because they work with Google. They know when that customer's arrived at our forecourt because they've got Google Maps on. They know when they're there. They're like, oh, this customer turned up at this time and date, and you're like, did they? And they were like, yeah, it says it on Google Maps. They checked in it. Your
Big Brother is watching you.
Big Brother's watching you.
That's crazy, that, isn't it? That is.
Yeah.
It's the way the world's going. To me personally, it excites me just because I get to spend more time not talking to people and being in front of a computer, which I prefer, and chatting to you guys. But yeah, it's less. It's more automated. So like the hard sell is going. It's leaving the premises. We're putting stuff on the internet now where people can see 90% of the stuff. And as long as we're evolving, we'll succeed, I believe.
So are you going to try Google Ads then?
What's that, sorry?
Are you going to try Google Ads?
We've already started it. I've already got the beta plan set up with 67 degrees. We're just waiting. Literally everything's done. I think it might be sort of semi-live, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm just waiting for them to basically say, right, VMA's a go. I think it's drip feeding its way through at the moment, but it's currently not costing me anything. But I run quite a few Google campaigns anyway, just to do with finance and poor credit finance, and they're really popular. We get a lot off those. So when if you do decide to go down like a German car specialist route, that would be something that I would recommend doing on Google Ads, putting a Google Ad campaign out there saying German car specialist, so you are bang at the very top.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Something around the £200, £250 a month mark. and that'll be beneficial because it directs them straight to your website. So yeah, happy with that. So have you got anything else for us?
No. I think, apart from the mental health side, what we discussed and the 67 degrees and everything else, I think that pretty much.
It was always going to be because Paul doesn't need a lot of mentoring in terms of how to run a business because he's done it for a long time. So it's nice to have something different to talk about. And
I've not been, so when I said to you before James dialed in, was it's been very, very much my business. It's my way or the highway. I haven't really had much input from other traders until recently, in terms of how I could make my business better or what I could do. I've just done it all myself. I've just worked it out myself from a previous sales experience of doing other things. And I realized that there are quite a little few more knobs that can be tweaked and a few dials that can be turned that can make it a much more pleasurable experience. But kind of like speaking to you guys now, as you can see, my endorphins are coming out, and I'm quite pumped up, and I'm feeling like really good about things. Man, it's what you want, isn't it?
So yeah, no, well, it's like things that if you want to do it, fucking get it done. Like, and if it doesn't go right, you had a fucking good go at it, And also, if it doesn't go right, go back to what you're doing before because you're doing a fucking good job now.
Do you know what? It's like you said before, Paul. Before we went live. Now you're nearly 50 and you said you still don't really know where you want to take the business and where you want it to be and how much, and I struggle with that all the time because I'm obviously a fair bit younger, but I've been doing it for a bloody long time and I still struggle with it. Weekly, daily, I'm like, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? We've got a perfectly nice life. We only have to work 5 days a week, and I'm like, well, yeah, but then you see some other guys and they're doing massive things but I don't know whether they've got a stronger brain than me. I think they probably had failures in the past that they've come through and they, so they've been there, done it. So they're not too afraid of it happening again. Whereas obviously we've been it's been a pretty smooth trajectory, like, because
I'm going to say most of us at some point along the way have failed aggressively, but it's not. The other thing from the mental health side of it as well is failing outside of work. There's a lot of things that can fail, not just in your business. And when your business isn't going very well, your personal relationship with your partner outside of work will also fall apart. And it's trying to figure out whether that's your fault or their fault or the business's fault. And those are the sort of things that's when you are really, really, really alone.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. And then you come out the other side of it and you get to look back on it and been like, fucking survived that. That was really, really, really tricky. And I did it all on my own. Well, this is more of what we're doing now. This is more to say, you're not alone. We're here.
I've got to be honest with you as well, James, is that one of the things that maybe has gone against me is the fact I do live in the village that I work in. So a lot of people get to drive home and have that kind of like, buffer zone before they get home of like 30-minute drive, I don't know, or whatever it is. And they can quickly go over the day in their head and they can put it to the back of their mind, maybe walk through the door. It isn't as bad. Like, it takes me 3 minutes to get to my house. So I down tools, walk out the office to the showroom and go home. And I'll walk into my house and my wife is quite regimented with the times that we have food, which is great. Because it's, I'm lucky, my wife's brilliant. She does everything.
Make sure you get that on just in case she's watching.
Yeah, no, she will, yeah. No, she does. She is fantastic. She does everything. She cooks a lot. And the thing is you walk in the home and you know what it's like. Imagine the day when your head's battered the most, right? Pick that day out. I go home and my daughter's going, yeah, and Claire at school did this and then my wife's going, yeah, don't forget we've got this. So then you're getting absolutely hammered 2 or 3 times on top of your already hammered head. And you're trying to sit there and be as engaged as you possibly can. But then I've not heard anything. I've heard nothing. and then it's all repeated later on.
Do you know what you need to do, Paul? Because I have got a 35-minute drive home, and that's people keep saying, well, why don't you move to Ross and where the main site is? Why don't you move there? I'm like, because I can stop work. I don't have to go to the Morrisons around the corner and get battered by customers. I can get in my car, decompress. By the time I get home, I'm pretty chilled out usually, even if we've had a really shit day. What you need to do is either become an alcoholic and sit there and get pissed every night before you go home, or get a dartboard. I've got a dartboard. Have 15 minutes after work. Just 15 minutes, have a quick game around the clock, forget about work, chill out on the dartboard for 10, 15 minutes, then go home. And I reckon you'll be... I
live 4 miles away. So I'm similar. I live 4 miles away, and if the traffic's right, I can get home in 10 minutes. But my gym's on the other side of town, so I drive over there. I do an hour in the evening. I come home and I'm a different person. I've deleted it from my memory. When the weather gets better, I've got a group of us that we go out on our mountain bikes in the evening, or sometimes I'll cycle to work. It's just finding what you can do for you as a coping mechanism at the end of the day, and literally closing the doors and going straight home is not the answer. Even if you've got to go and walk around the block, or go and have a cheeky pint at the pub, or just do something that isn't work related for at least 20 minutes, that gives you the opportunity to delete what you've just been through, because you're not prepared to walk into that house at that time. And children are selfish. I love the children to pieces, but they don't give a fuck about anything else apart from themselves and what's going on right in front of them there and then.
No, you're right.
And that's actually correct. And like sometimes you'll come home and your wife, she'll have probably been alone. She's probably going through similar stuff today. Sometimes she'll have been alone all day, and they'll be like, and they're trying to download what's gone on their day. And you're like, I don't have the fucking time for this right now. I haven't got it. I've got nothing for you. I just want to sit in that little comfortable chair over there and be quiet, if you don't mind. So sometimes you've just got to make that quiet. Yeah, just brace. So maybe that's something that you can look at for yourself. Maybe take a detour home.
You started going to the gym though, haven't you?
Yeah, I've actually been going to the gym 4 times a week since the start of January.
Oh, beautiful.
And I have actually shed 1 stone and 2 pounds now.
Good luck.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, I went last night, Sunday, and what I normally do is spin class on a Tuesday, and then have Wednesday and Thursday off.
I love the vibe from a spin class. I always come out of that like,
yeah.
Come on.
These are things that I need to do to get my brain doing other things, like you say, that isn't work related, because we are just wrapped up in this thing. I don't care. It's a weird bit. Obviously, having been in different businesses over my life, this is the most business I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And I know I've watched your podcasts, and they're fantastic, and I listen to them when I'm on the bike or I'm in the gym or whatever. I don't think, unless you're in this industry, anybody could actually understand what we all talk about. They've got no fucking idea. I'm sure there are other pressures. I'm sure being a stockbroker is quite pressurized, selling shares on, and all that kind of game.
We are unique. That's what you're saying. We are unique. It's a unique situation. Only we can understand it, which is frustrating because, especially, no offense to women, they don't understand it. When we try and explain, they do their best. They are sympathetic, but it's very, very difficult to explain it to somebody that hasn't experienced what we go through. And sometimes it's that, like you said, you sat at a computer and you got to reply to that straight away because you feel that's the right time. Sometimes it happens and they're like, what are you doing? Put your work down, get away from it. No, I've got to do it. Otherwise I can't move on to the next thing, or I won't sleep tonight. Those are the things that we do experience, but we love it. This is our job. This is our trade. In the middle of COVID, everyone else stayed at home, protect the NHS, save lives. We rode at fucking dawn.
We did.
And, like you said, we get a decent lifestyle out of it. And going back to what Theo was saying before, again, without going on that I'm hitting a half century next year, is I've got to wonder how much longer I want to go on anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because I am fortunate enough to be in a position where I could live quite comfortably now if I wasn't doing this. But what would you get up for every day? Why would you open your eyes? You know,
Get yourself a hobby. See yourself up with a hobby or a place abroad somewhere or something like that. Just, there's
only so much masturbation you can do, James. It's,
masturbation's not a hobby. That's a problem.
Fair enough. But yeah. Well, going to the gym's a hobby, isn't it? Let's be honest. Riding your bike, going to the gym, that kind of thing. But I think I'd miss the buzz of doing a deal.
Yeah, I think I've spoken about this before because obviously I don't want to keep banging on, but I'm much younger than you guys, and I want to try and be out.
Tell with the face.
No, I didn't know.
I want to be out really by the time I'm like 55, but it's finding a plan to be able to do that, and then afterwards, I still think like I will go and play golf and hopefully do some motorsport and whatever, but I still think I'll always be doing the odd bit of buying and selling. And I think we all end up doing, even if it's off our driveway and bits and bobs, because it is that drug. It is that clinching a deal, making some profit. And I think, we love it. We hate it sometimes, but hopefully people watching us can just,
Just an idea, Paul.
Yeah.
I have an idea for you. It could be wrong. I think this might be a fantastic opportunity for you to create a protege if you are thinking about potentially leaving.
Yes. Well, it wouldn't be my brother because he's 10 years older than me.
A protege, a younger, hungrier version of yourself that could maybe buy you out, run alongside you, send you money, ring you up on the golf course and go, by the way, we've just sold 6 cars, get the drinks in, that sort of thing. Maybe
I have thought about that, yeah.
And that would be quite something quite cool. If you have got an exit strategy, that might be an idea to, because it will take 4 or 5 years to get someone to come in, trust them, proofs in the pudding, that sort of jazz. So maybe that could be, you could look at getting that in, because then you've got an out. Then you've got like, do you know what? I'm going to start tailing it off, and then you work 3 days a week, then it's 2, and then before you know it, you're doing what Tony's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that's not a bad shout, that, to be honest. Yeah.
Tony comes in a couple of days a week, sells all the cars, goes home again, straight to the golf course.
Does he? Yeah, he's here more than I am. He's an animal. He's 61. He's like possessed. He's here about 600 hours a week. Just think he doesn't want to be at home, truthfully, but...
Seriously, Steve, my brother Steve's 62 and he's the same. He's just in there smashing away at it. I mean, I've never seen anyone contact somebody by as many mediums as he possibly can. I reckon if he had an address, he'd go from the house. And
that's what you want.
So
that's what you want. Well, you've definitely got someone there to show them the ropes in the meantime, if you did decide to involve somebody else in it. So
yeah.
But yeah, cool. All right. Well, I'm happy with everything. I'm happy that we covered everything. So at this point, would you be so kind as to do us a favour? So website address, social medias, tell us about yourself. And before this one, I'd like you to tell me what your favourite part of the day is and which is the bit that you enjoy the most in your working day.
I enjoy the hours between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. when I'm on my own and no one else has turned up yet.
Same as you, James.
Amen. 7 till 9. Those are the golden hours when my phone doesn't ring, all my paperwork gets done, nobody upsets me, and I am in a happy little place. So I'm joining you in that happiness.
And I find it absolutely disgusting if someone comes in early.
Yeah.
Out. Get out.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. Unless you make me a coffee, fuck off.
Fantastic. So, could you be kind enough to let us know your website address, where we can find you on Facebook? Will we be seeing any more social media stuff from you? What's the plan for the next 6 months? Because I'm excited. Go.
Yeah. So it's mine, Paul Jackson, and it's www.carterandhaynes.co.uk, not with a Y, with an I. Socials, Facebook. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram. Again, not that highly on there. YouTube. We have all our cars are on YouTube. All links are on the website. And in 6 months' time, hopefully I'll be in Cyprus. So, yeah.
Good. Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you ever so much, gentlemen. We will catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.